President Trump planning to sign an executive order at this afternoon's vaccine summit that would prioritize Americans' access to the COVID vaccines before the U.S. helps out other countries. All of this coming just 2 days before a panel of FDA advisors will meet to discuss emergency vaccine approval. Joining us now, White House vaccine czar, Dr. Moncef Slaoui. Welcome back, Doctor. Great to have you here this morning. So as far as this executive order that is intended to ensure that Americans get access to the vaccine ahead of other foreign nations, what is the goal with this, and what are we expected to see from the White House on that front today?
Well, listen, what the White House is doing is what the White House is doing. We at the operation are working very hard on making sure that we have as many vaccine doses from as many vaccines as possible from our portfolio available to the American people. We have committed to have enough vaccine doses to immunize the full population by the middle of the year, 2021. We remain confident this will be the case. We are also remembering that on May 15, the President has said that once the American people will be vaccinated, supplemental vaccine doses available to us could be made available to the world. I assume that whatever may be announced this afternoon will be in line with that. But in the meantime, we're focused on making these doses available for the American people.
Okay, so we had Admiral Giroir on yesterday, and we were talking about how do we get back to normal life? Because at the end of the day, we all see the light at the end of the tunnel when we're talking about the vaccine, doctor. He had suggested that we need to see about 70 to 80% of the American people having had this vaccine, both doses of it, before we can actually see a return to that normal life we all once had. Listen to this.
By the time we immunize 50 or 60 million people, we can have all the long-term care facility, a lot of the at-risk people, so we'll get a lot of the benefit. But we will not end the pandemic, in other words, really end the disease transmission until we have at least about 70 or 80% of the American people who have either been immunized or have gotten the virus.
Being so intimately part of this vaccine rollout, doctor, is that possible? Are we going to have enough of the vaccine to cover 70, 80% of the population?
Yes, that's absolutely possible. That's our plans, and we feel very confident that we will be delivering on them. Probably by the time 70 to 80% of people are immunized, we will be somewhere in the month of May. I think at this moment, the highest concern I have is the level of hesitancy within the population as to accepting whether they will be immunized or not. We're working very hard to make sure all the data about these vaccines' performance, their safety and efficacy, will be transparently discussed through the FDA process with the VRBPAC, which is the advisory independent experts advising the FDA. And then more experts will have access to that data, and I hope we'll be able to relay to the population independently how effective these vaccines are. I'd like to also say that we have these two vaccines, the Pfizer vaccine and the Moderna vaccine, that will be reviewed in the next few days and week. But there's two more coming that are completing their phase 3 trials that are likely to read out in early January and become available, we hope, in February to further increase the number of doses we have. That's why we feel confident that we will be able to immunize the U.S. population as a whole.
Dr. Slaoui, how do you address that public fear? As the doctor heading up warp speed and making sure that this vaccine is available, that is an enormous task that you have undertaken. Did you think about the public fear side of this? I mean, you walk down the street and you ask people, will you get it if it's available at your local doctor's office? It's shocking to hear and see some of these studies that say about 50% of people say they don't want to be first in line. To them, you say what?
Well, it's very concerning, and I say a few things. First, try to explain why we went fast. We went fast not by cutting any corner. We took advantage of technological advances that happened over the last 10 years. We took financial risk and operational risks. We did larger trials than what's needed. Those are the things that allowed us to go very fast, number one. Number two, we will make all data available and explain it and have independent experts look into it and explain it to the population. Hopefully, people have different experts that they may trust. I ask people to just keep your mind open. Please don't come to a conclusion before you have been exposed to the data. And then the third thing I say is just a personal example. I have an 8-year-old kid. As soon as this vaccine will become available for children, it's not yet now, I will make sure he has it. I will take the vaccine as soon as it is approved, if I'm authorized to do so. And those are the level of confidence I have. The people I love most on the earth, I'll make sure they get the vaccine because I know the data and I know it's safe and effective.
Okay, Dr. Slaoui, it was really something to see that UK woman, 90 years old, sat down and took the first dose of that vaccine this morning. We hope that happens soon here. Doctor, thank you for your time this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.